Hi guys, welcome to my SBS guide part 2. This guide is specifically targeted toward duo tobbers. All information in this guide will overlap with general mage role Maiden knowledge, so you might learn a thing or two about that as well. In this guide, I'm going to take you through a very well-played Maiden and explain all the bits and pieces. As I enter Maiden, I wait one tick after T-bowing so that my teammate gets drained instead of me while I am mauling. Then, after mauling, if my maul lands, I wait 7 ticks to scythe. I like to SBS to Arcuess here as an easy way to count ticks. If the maul had missed, I would have immediately remauled. This way, I end up scything on the same tick as my teammate in either case. While he ralloses, he should run away from the boss so that Maiden targets me on her second attack. This procs my Vengeance immediately and allows me to cast Vengeance before I cast SBS to Ancients in preparation for the 70 spawn. Now, after the 70 spawn, I solve the crab spawns immediately, meaning that I know exactly what attacks I need to do within the time it takes me to equip my mage gear. I would highly recommend attaining this level of skill with the mage role in Maiden before you attempt to SBS freeze. My approach to solving the Maiden crab spawns will be explained in another Duo Maiden guide coming shortly. On this particular spawn, I cannot freeze 4s directly after N1 as they will not yet have clumped. Because of this, I opt to scythe in between these freezes. In order to do this scythe though, it is very hard because I need to be able to switch back to Ancients at the same time. My solution to dodge blood and switch melee gear is I click to move and click 2 of my switches on the same tick that I click SPS. Then, after my stall, I complete my switches to the best of my ability before scything Maiden, or I could scythe the other crab if the ranger had noodled on it a lot and I had positioned myself correctly during the stall. Now, after this scythe, I'm completely free to switch back to my mage gear and freeze the 4s. Let me play that back so that you can clearly see what I did tick by tick. So first, I wait for the timing to barrage my first crab. Then, I click my scythe, rancor, I yellow click in order to move, and I also click SPS. That's 4 actions in 1 tick. Now I wait for the SPS to end, I wait a second tick, I wait a third tick, and then, as the SPS stall ends, I click my gloves, hat, and plate body, or as many switches as you are consistently capable of making before clicking Maiden in the same tick. In this case, it was also 4 actions at the end of the tick. This same principle may be applied when you are finished barraging a clump. You may want to swap to Arceus briefly to recast Death Charge, especially if you have to double maul. This is the only way to get claws, before Yama at least. And in order to quickly swap to Arceus after freezing, and before all the crabs die, I immediately swap to Arceus to tick after my last barrage, but not before starting have my melee switch, so that as the stall ends, I only have half the switches to complete before scything the crabs and casting Death Charge. Let's break that down again tick by tick. I barrage the crab, I equip my scythe, amulet, gloves, and click SPS to Arceus. That's 4 actions in 1 tick. Then I wait, and I wait, and as the stall ends, I click my hat, body, pants, and click crab. Now after I've swung, I'm able to click Death Charge for the crab. This is very beneficial when you end up getting very fast maidens, because there may be a case where just as you finish barraging one set of crabs, next set is already about to proc, and you need to swap back to Ancients immediately while also scything the boss proc crabs. In that case, I might have to skip this swap to Arceus entirely, and instead use the same technique, swap back to Ancient, so I'm already ready for the next set as I kill these 50s. On 30s here, I probably should have opted to freeze the 3 and try to skip or half skip, since if only South 3 spawns, it gets barraged twice when also freezing the 4s, and often will leak with quite low HP, allowing for high odds of a half skip. Something to note though, if only N3 spawns, it is pretty common that duoers will try to kill it with 2 scythes or use a claw spec on it. As you can see here, I used the claw spec on South 3, and double claws can be very satisfying for that. The reason for this is because generally you are only trying to skip 4s in a duo. And if you try to skip 3s as well, it will drastically lower your odds of getting the skip. Thank you for watching this Duo Maiden SPS guide. For those of you not aware, I have a Discord server with a large wealth of knowledge concerning TOB. Lately, I've been heavily investing into building out more Duo resources in addition to higher scales. I highly recommend you joining the Discord server, and I regularly host Duotab learning sessions in there. The Discord is linked in the description. Have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe. Horse Lord out. Peace.